Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare two laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Good evening, iRacers. Welcome to Apex Racing TV and our coverage of the FindingSpeed GT3 League Season 3. Delighted to be back here with FindingSpeed after us covering their UK Tour Season 1 earlier this year. Here at Road Atlanta, as you can see in the, well, I was going to say dusk, but it's more nighttime now. Lee Thompson here, alongside Alex Simpson, founder of Apex Racing, or co-founder of Apex Racing UK, joining us on commentary, and Samuli Kumo on production. Alex, I think we're going to see a corker tonight. GT3's here at, a historic endurance circuit, Road Atlanta, home of Petit Le Mans. 45-minute race ahead of us. I think it's going to be fun watching these guys battle through the darkness.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good to be here. Yeah, what a fantastic venue for an opening round of any series. We've got this Road Atlanta circuit now in the well, yeah, I was going to say like you, Lee, but dusk. But as the cars just drive off into the distance, there we can sort of we can tell that actually that the night is really setting in. Yeah, fantastic circuit. I really love racing here. And yeah, thank you for having me here. It's a bit of an old school crew as well, like you say. I've been around for a long time here on this Apex Racing TV channel. So as yourself, and Samuli, one of the almost the founding drivers as well. So yeah, very lot of history in the channel right now today.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a blast from the past. But let's see if we can keep up with our young upstart broadcast crews that we have running elsewhere. So we've got a lot to live up to tonight. Yeah, FindingSpeed GT3 League. Yeah, great to have them back, as we said. Brought in part thanks to Asetek SimSports, who are the title sponsors of the event. Asetek are bringing their precision engineering expertise across from high-end PCs to sim racing. If you're interested in finding out more about their forthcoming products, you can visit aseteksimsports.com. So that's aseteksimsports.com. They're providing high-end water cooling kits for the Pro and Silver classes. For Pro Gold and Pro Silver class championship winners for the season. And alongside them, we also have Apex Racing Academy also providing sponsorship for the series, and they're going to be providing 1-year subscriptions for gold and silver memberships to the Pro Bronze Championship finishes in the top 3 positions. Apex Racing Academy provides data packs for iRacing, track guides, integration with VRS, automatic setup, sync tools, weekly group coach sessions, and more. And you can find more about them at apexracingac.com. So that's the bills paid for Alex. We've got 5 minutes left of practice. We've got a absolutely packed circuit at the minute. We've got 49 cars in session. We got a 20-minute qualifying session ahead. Is it open qualifying or is it solo lone qualifying? I think we're going to find out in just a couple of minutes. If it's open qualifying, that is going to be very, very interesting at Road Atlanta with 50 cars on track.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the draft is going to have a huge little bit of teammate coming together. They'll get that out of their system now before the quali goes in. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of drafting in quali if that's the case. If it's lone, obviously it'll be done very, very quickly. But yeah, still, Road Atlanta's still a fantastic circuit to hot lap. I'm just looking at the intervals in practice right now on the live timing, and I have to say it is so close. This is going to be a really interesting quali setup here. And the 3 different classes that we have here as well, they're a mixed bag at the moment, that's for sure. So maybe that'll pan out once we see a bit of consistency with lap pace start to set in. But for quali, I think is anyone's pole position to have here.
Like you say, that is very, very tight. As you say, top 25 cars separated by just under a second on a 1-minute 17, 1-minute 18 lap. So yeah, that's feeling pretty tasty for this 45-minute race up ahead. We can see lots of familiar driver names, lots of familiar team names as well to our Apex Racing TV broadcast. So great that these guys have signed up for this FindingSpeed League. Many of the drivers this season took part in Season 2 as well, which we didn't actually see on Apex Racing TV here. But yeah, great that they've obviously had a good time in Season 2 and have signed up again. The layout for Season 3 is going to be a 5-race season between today and the middle of November. And how about this for a little list of tracks when you've got 5 to pick from, Alex? Obviously, Road Atlanta that we're at tonight. Hungaroring, obviously brand new circuit to iRacing. That seems pretty popular already from what I'm hearing on the grapevine. Road America then for round 3, Nürburgring GP for round 4, and finishing off with arguably one of the 2 favourite circuits in most people's eyes in the world of Suzuka International Racing Course. So that's not a bad 5 tracks to pick from.
Yeah, I think I'd go with that list. Pretty decent. I haven't actually personally driven around Hungaroring on iRacing yet, so something I've got to look forward to. If it's anything like some of the other sims that I've dabbled in, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. So, but yeah, good mix there actually. So there's going to be some that you're going to have, real good opportunities to get the draft on your competitors out there and make some moves, and then some others that really are drivers tracks. Suzuka is one that really stands out to me. The driver can make such a difference around there. There's so many different lines and ways to attack the S's, that first sector, and Curva Grande and things like that. So yeah, it's yes, that's Monza. So getting my names mixed up, but oh, what is it? It's Dunlop Curve, isn't it? Dunlop Curve. I'm thinking of it, the flat out in the F1 car back in the day. But yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that final left-hander going up the hill. Yeah, Dunlop.
That's it. Getting old and just losing all me, losing my marbles and my track names and corner names now.
If I don't have a track map in front of me, I'm screwed. So so no, all good. We should be all right for Road Atlanta here tonight. Well, fortunately, there's only it's all corner numbers, and we've got VS's, and so that's the only corner name really to worry about. So that should be pretty straightforward. So we can see just like a minute and a half or so left on the session, and then we'll be rolling onto this 20-minute qualifying track. Most cars are having a little breather in pit lane just before they've got to gear up. I love the lighting inside the interior of Russell Barnes' Ferrari, brand new, of course, Evo GT3 488. Russell Barnes, the Mr. FindingSpeed. You know, he's a prolific YouTuber, putting out a lot of content. I think predominantly on iRacing, but occasionally other little platforms as well. So yeah, definitely worth searching for him on YouTube and giving him a sub and a like, as he's obviously already imposing his will upon the league, forcing the drivers ahead of him to jump out the way whenever he approaches. So yeah, we'll be checking in with Russell fairly regularly, I'm sure, during the event. Russell actually is not going to be putting in a qualifying time, is our understanding. He likes to start from the back of a grid in his league events and see where he can work his way up to during the race. So yeah, we'll be checking in with him, I'm sure. We can see he's got a good pace in practice. He's 22nd at a minute, so just in the top half of the field. So yeah, for sure he's going to have fun out there tonight during that 45-minute race, as we said. We're saying that it's a pretty good mixture of classes at the minute in terms of the standing order. I mean, maybe that's just evened out a little bit in the last few minutes, but we've also got a good mixture of the cars as well. I have to say, looking at the timing screen, the Porsche does look to be the slightly stronger car. We've got 4 of them in the top 10, 5 in the top 10, and a couple more then after that. But it is pretty well evened out between the rest of the positions. Then we've got BMWs, Ferrari, and the Audi all in the top 10. So yeah, that's good to see.
Yeah, it's always nice when it's not, Ferrari Cup or something like that. So yeah, good split. But yeah, so open qualifying it is then, as everyone scrambles out of the pit lane then. So yeah, they're going to try and find some space in this first lap. Never easy. And yeah, then it'll be all pedal to the metal. Try and give yourself some sort of space so that you can get that draft. Look at that McLaren. There's 1 McLaren on the grid. No, 2 McLarens on the grid. Sorry.
Yep.
But you're not gonna miss them. So the Centurion guys out there are gonna light up the whole of Atlanta with those flamethrowers that come out the back of that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so definitely a good job we got a 20-minute qualifying session and not a 10, because I think that time is going to be needed. I'm really looking forward to seeing how maybe there's a little bit of coordination between different teams, how we might still end up with a bit of decent mixture in the field, as people aren't able to get their ultimate runs in qualifying. So yeah, this is going to be frantic, and I dare say we might see the odd little incident in qualifying, the odd little niggle here and there between drivers as they're all trying to squabble over the same piece of tarmac. But like I say, on their way now, and we'll start to see very soon how the positions begin to shuffle themselves out.
Yeah, the one good thing about Atlanta is that you do have space. It's pretty wide track, but still, look, people trying to make those last little moves.
Yeah. Contact already.
Always tricky.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky into that chicane, I feel like, right? It's going to be a bit kind of F1-esque with everyone kind of queuing up, before the final corner to try and get their run in. It's going to be who's backing out into that final corner to give themselves space, who's on a hot lap behind trying to push forward. So we'll just have to keep a close eye on that. I love some of the LEDs that we're getting in the newer GT3s that we already see in the darkness on the side of the track. Has got a car ahead, goes hard into the wall and back across the track. Dave Erdin, well, beautiful timing for us to be following him. Unfortunately, does a little kind of tortoiseshell impression at the end there, upside down into the wall as well. But
I thought he was trying to do a disco ball impression for a second.
Yeah, do a bit of break dancing. But But no, fortunately, early in the session, so straight back to pits. He's got plenty of time to get his laps in. But already example of how tricky this qualifying session might be.
Yeah, that's the other thing with open quali, isn't it? Is you just have to be eyes on stalks, because people can quite easily make mistakes ahead of you and can just ruin your laps. I mean, guys here, just nothing between them at the moment. Definitely compromised in that final sector. So, but they've got 20 minutes, so they've got time to pace themselves a little bit, find some space, and as they all start coming back into the pits, I feel like they'll just organically, the circuit will just get busy everywhere rather than in perhaps just one part.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to start spreading out, isn't it? Tom Dadsdale here for Altitude Esports. We've got a few of the Altitude guys in the field. We've actually got quite a large number of teams overall. 16 teams in total. We're told between 50 odd drivers that we've got in session. So lots of people well represented out there. So Tom, we can see in the timing tower there representing the Pro Gold class for highest level. So you can see in the timing tower we've got that color coordination for the classes. So we've got gold, then silver, and then the bronze to help you identify what's going on. They're all in the same race. It's overall points, so it's not kind of individual class points. So everyone is going to be battling for the position ahead regardless of the class level of that car ahead, which is again going to make things interesting as we go through. But yeah, like I said, we'll see how that classification turned out after qualifying, Alex, as to whether we see that kind of classes represented in order from the grid.
Yeah, I feel like it should do it. I mean, already somewhat. We're just waiting for the gold drivers, I think, to start to come through, and that should make a bit of a difference. But you can see it on the timing tower. So like the silvers and starting to really sort of put their mark on the session. So.
And for new viewers to Apex Racing TV, or indeed to sim racing generally, if you see a little flash of red in that position box on the left, then that means they've gone off the track. So there we go. R Walker right on cue gives us a little demonstration, as does A Coles. So anytime you see that, that's just a car going off track. It may just be that they've touched grass, or they may be having a fair bit more of an issue, just as Adam here is, as he tries to stay well out of the way of everyone ahead, representing Indy Autosports there. Nice, clean, I like on that Lambo there, the red and black, really looking good. And then the last little colour you can see on the timing tower is just that green stripe, and again that's just showing us who the camera is focused on, so you'll always know who we are watching and following throughout the qualifying session and throughout the race. So yeah, we've had the first lap or two being put in already. They're not quite down to the same pace that they were in practice, Alex. We saw a 1:17.6 I think was the quickest, and then right on cue Tom Dadswell gets into the 17s for the first time in the qualifying session on the 17.7, but everyone else currently in the 18s. But already, again, still super close, like a second or so between the top 20 again.
Yeah, like I say, a little bit of time on this session left, but that some of those intervals is crazy at the moment. So, and people, I think we just, as they start to get another little nowhere to go there at all for Carter there, just car in front of him just having a little spin. But I think the thing with open qualifying sessions, and trying to get to my point, is that you find a bit of a rhythm, don't you, of an open session. The first few laps, perhaps you're a bit nervous, you've got a lot of cars around you, trying to find your feet, trying to set some sort of banker to give you that confidence to go and start pushing. And I think, once you get about 10 minutes in, usually people have kind of got their sort of banker lap in, and we will start to see people really just pushing the limits of the car a little bit more, and those times will start to drop down, and perhaps we will have some giving themselves a little bit more time to really use the draft as well. So yeah, it should be I'd say the final 10 minutes I think is where it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, like you say, it's hopefully by then people have got the opportunity to get their banker in, and we'll see what they can really do from there. We can see fair amount of people in the timing tower showing us that they're on their outlap at the minute, and a few people coming out of pit exits. So it almost feels like it's kind of maybe phase 2 a little bit of qualifying already as people begin their next runs and next attempts. It'll be interesting as to whether, I mean, as we're kind of going further into night, Alex, temperatures presumably we're going to be dropping off a little bit. I mean, do you think in the space of 15 minutes that we're going to see sort of a track getting a little bit quicker as it's getting a little bit cooler?
I mean, 1 degree makes a difference on iRacing for sure. So, you know, if the guys time it well and that track is dropping, I mean, of course, you've got a lot of cars on it now as well. So, you know, they produce heat, but it's whether or not the temperature is going to carry on dropping. So it's tough to say. But yeah, that 1 degree, I think we could see some people putting in some quicker laps. And if that 1 degree happens to be in the last 2 minutes of the session, then yeah, you know, all bets are kind of off, I think, because could be anyone's that are going to crop up.
Yeah, it'll be, like I say, really interesting to see for sure if there is much kind of track evolution and whether it's better to, like I say, really pin that lap at the start or at the end. I mean, we can see the constant stroller cars along the bottom. All of those yellow bars mean they haven't improved sector on their previous best lap. And so kind of interestingly at the minute, we can see in this phase of qualifying that majority of people aren't really improving. So whether that's, again, just kind of a bit of traffic, or actually it's taken them like a couple of laps to get their tyres get warm, so it's going to take them a moment longer in this kind of phase. But apart from, yeah, like Carranza there, who's green most of the way through, we've not really seen that for people completing their laps. They're all kind of yellow, which is interesting. So we will, again, just kind of have to keep an eye on how that pans out for the rest of the session. I mean, Tom Dadswell still has got that 2 and a bit tenth gap, which when we're looking at the gaps through the rest of the field is he may as well be in another county sort of thing, because again we've got 2 tenths between sort of 10-15 cars elsewhere. So yeah, he's got quite a gap at the front still.
And I have to say, I saw Dadswell's little bar come across the bottom, and he was one of the drivers still finding a bit of time out there with some green sectors. So yeah, he definitely looks quite comfortable and looks like maybe he could be one that will extend that a little bit further as well. So Jacko there as well, currently car number 29, sorry 225, currently in 29th, obviously improving. But yeah, so there's still time out there for sure. Like, we haven't set this grid yet by any means. So
no, definitely not, and already halfway through the qualifying session, so that time is going to disappear quickly. They're not going to have laps and laps and laps and laps to nail their perfect run. So yeah, going to be interesting to see for sure. And Dadswell improves. We saw just for a moment the purple ping out on the side of the timing tower as he went fastest overall again. So he found another 900ths of a second, I think it was, because he was on a 7.7, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, so good job from Tom. He's really got it nailed at the minute, and we just need to see if anyone else can close that gap. We certainly saw it was much closer in practice. The Porsche again still looking pretty strong. 3 of the top 4 cars are Porsches, and then we got a little gaggle of Ferraris after that. So yeah, so Porsche does look to be the preferred car right now.
has been quite strong, I think, in a lot of official series racing as well. So I think still a fairly new car on iRacing, and I have this little theory about new cars, which is why I'm surprised actually not to see more Ferraris up there. I like to think that the Ferraris, the new cars always get the slightly better BOPs whenever they're launched, you know. So but yeah, so I'm not surprised to see the Porsches doing well. But like I say, I quite expected a whole bunch of Ferraris to be up there, and you've got you know, Stephen Brumfield and his McLaren sat in P9. So you know, that's probably the oldest GT3 we've got out on track at the moment, and that's still doing you know, extremely well. So yeah, it looks like the BOP seems to be pretty decent this season.
It certainly does, and I'm kind of surprised as well. Maybe there aren't more people that have picked the Ferrari just from the it being, say, flavour of the month a little bit in terms of being a brand new release. But no, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, making me feel old, Alex, saying about McLaren being the oldest GT3 on it, because we all three of us in production, we remember when that got released on iRacing, and already we've had, you know, so many other GT3s come along and and expand the options that we have available on iRacing.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when it was, but yeah, it was a long time ago, and it was a big deal when it come out for sure. I'm trying to think the only one sort of older at the time was the
Ford
BMW
GT?
Z4.
Yeah, 4. Yep.
Yeah, I don't even think the Ford was classed as a GT3 then. It was still just a GT2, wasn't it? I think, if I'm not mistaken. Later on, they sort of modified it to be a GT3, and I think I also think the GT3s, maybe they were racing against the Rough as well. Didn't the Porsche Rough be classed as a GT3 for a time? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think we had the kind of the 911 Cup kind of version of the Rough, didn't we? And we also had the GT3, I think. So yeah, that sounds right to me. That feels such a long time ago when they were having to kind of put fake Porsches on iRacing, if you like. But it kind of certainly worked out for iRacing, I guess, with Porsche headlining the top sponsor of the biggest road racing series that we have in iRacing. So yeah, that panned out for iRacing, as it definitely doesn't pan out for Patrick Gannon there. And
a lot of
also
people's
all
laps are
the
going to
other
be
cars
compromised here.
yeah, he's going to try and tow
get out of the
away.
way.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So he did his best to sit on the brakes, hold his position, and hold that escape button until iRacing let him go. But I hope for Patrick's sake, yeah, he wasn't on a cracker of a lap there, because they literally final corner, and that's that ruined. He's already in third, so you know he's got a good qualifying gap in, but just a swarm of cars, like 6 or 7 cars all coming out of pit lane at the same time, whilst there's 4 or 5 coming down the pit straight. So you know, down to 5.5, 6 minutes in qualifying left. It still doesn't feel like there's a huge amount of space out there, as everybody's squabbling into turn 1 and someone taking to the escape road as well. And I've got another spinner as well. So we're looking at Matt Knudsen, who's just taken that toe back into pit lane again, but he was stranded there down in the middle of the S's. I mean, the S's, Alex, obviously, you know, kind of iconic part of the circuit, really, I guess, isn't it? You go down such a large dip here as we're on board with Matt again as we start off down the S's. You go down this hill, plunge into the dip at the bottom, and the curbs are so tricky, right? We see the car kind of bouncing and reacting over it, and especially this last left-hander, you've got to be so careful on both the entry and exit curves. It's super bumpy on exit, of course, but you got to use them. Like, especially on that last section, you got to be all over those curves to try and get the run out onto the straight that you need. As Matt really having a bit of a tough time out there at the minute.
Yeah, a bit too much pace going in that. Car's a little bit loose, and back end comes around. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You took the words right out of my mouth, actually, as you were saying that. The curbs are quite violent, but you have to use every single one of them to help rotate the car, you know? There's so much time available just by kissing those curbs in just the right way, so that, you know, it pulls the front end around, and if you don't, then yeah, it makes a big difference. So yeah, you got to be on your toes and ready for how the car can react, because yeah, one bounce in the wrong way and suddenly you're massively counter steering to catch the car.
Yeah, super tricky part of the track, and we're going to see issues and incidents there, I'm sure, throughout the race. I mean, you'll see, you know, overtakes can be made down there as well. I mean, it's super difficult again, and it requires a bit of compliance from the driver you're trying to pass. But yeah, if there's a little bit of an error going into turn 3, then yeah, you get the opportunity to try and get the run down into the S's through turn 4 and through. But yeah, it should be most of the time a single file part of the track, and just seeing if cars can survive the run through there. Of course, the other kind of key part of the track, Alex, is coming down the back straight, right? You've got to get that great turn out of turn 7. You have a last corner where we see Bray here just turning into turn 6. Here's turn 7 now. You've got to get the perfect exit off of that corner, because you've got the straight that runs practically the whole length of the track, and then your biggest overtaking opportunity on the whole circuit then on the brakes down into the chicane for turns 10A and 10B.
Love that chicane as well. You've got to take just the right amount of curbing on there as well. If you take too much, you're going to get slow down penalty or off tracks. just keep mounting up. But if you just don't quite take enough, then it just compromises the line massively. You lose absolute mountains of time as well. So really important to get the line right through there so you can get on that power nice and early. And of course, you're basically flat out pretty much all the way from there through to the breaking point on turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting how, around that final chicane, it's a very different type of curb from where we are back here at the S's again, where, like I say, those curbs are really tricky here. You got to use them, but they're going to affect the car severely. Whereas on that final chicane, they're pretty flat, and you're trying to, certainly on the first apex scene, there's another car has a little issue ahead of Kalea there. Certainly on the first apex of that chicane, you really scramble all over the curb and some of the grass half the time as well. So yeah, good to see you. Right, time is ticking away, down to 2 minutes left, so these guys are only going to have 1 or 2 laps remaining depending on kind of where they are on their lap. We can see that Tom Dadswell on the timing tower there on his out lap at the minute, just come out of pit lane, so he's not obviously confident that he's got that pole position secured. He's currently got a 2/10 gap over Dominguez Yavasea, and then it's Miko Mekavara in third. So those are the only 3 guys in the 1 minute 17 so far. But so that gap is decreasing to Dadswell. But yeah, nobody's quite managed to put up a real challenge to him yet.
Yeah, like you say, the time has come down. Yeah, Mika's just put himself up into to 3rd place as well. Patrick Gannon top of the silver pro silver class there as well. Perhaps shooting a little bit above his weight in front of some of the pro gold guys there as well. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy with that one. Give himself a bit of breathing room on his class competitors. You know, Robert Lancaster there overall in 7th place. 5th place is 2nd in there. Dan Carter not too far behind. Those guys separated by, you know, a couple of hundredths of a second there. So it's the pro silver class looks very interesting indeed.
It does. It's crazy tight in the kind of the bottom half of the top 10 at the minute. 30 seconds left on qualifying, and the guys will have a little bit of time after the clock just to complete their lap as well. But yeah, at the minute on board with Patrick Gannon, and he's looking to really get a bit of a wiggle on, and say currently in that 4th place. Back with Dadswell, we said that he came back out the pit to try and defend this pole position. Well, he's had a very good start. Purple sector for sector 1. We'll see in just a moment how it's going to be looking for sector 2. But yeah, I don't see anyone else really at the minute challenging hard for that pole position.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be happy just to get a little bit more time. There is time limit up, so the checkered flag is going to come out. Drivers will be completing their laps, and we'll see how this grid is going to pan out.
Yeah, and actually it doesn't look like there's going to be much more movement through the field. Most of the cars have gone back to pit lane already, so we've just got a handful of cars completing their laps. Will stay with Dadswell as he comes through that final chicane we were talking about before. We can see that sector 2 and sector 3 are both yellow for him, and in fact he aborts the lap, goes into pit lane. Nice little bit of practice for pit lane entry in case he unexpectedly needs it in the race. But yeah, it looks like that's going to be Dadswell secured. I'm not seeing anyone else who's really going to be challenging for that top spot. That will just ensure that those last couple of cars come over the line before we confirm the grid starting positions for our feature race, 45 minutes long.
Yeah, a few other drivers are bought in laps as well. Can't have many more out there now, I don't think.
No, I think that's going to be it. I think Alex here, who we're watching into pit lane, is the last one. So congratulations to Tom Dadswell. So he looked dominant through practice, and then from the very first lap in qualifying, he got that pole position right away. Improved by a little bit as well. Looked like he was having a good final run, and in the end just didn't need to do any more. So nobody else quite had an answer for him that time. Again, like we predicted at the start, Alex, just so close for the rest of the field. So from 4th position, 18 flat, and the first 19 is down in 34th position. So 30 cars within 1 second of each other. This is going to be very tight. And I mean, a hot lap is different to a 45-minute race. I mean, how many of these guys can consistently bang in those laps? You might be, say, quarter of a second, half a second off an ultimate pace. But if you're the guy that can keep it, on the black stuff for 45 minutes, you're going to be profiting a lot more than perhaps those around you. Right, so here is our grid and our starting positions for round 1 here from Road Atlanta, Season 3 of a FindingSpeed GT3 League. Tom Dadswell, as we said, for Altitude Esports, took that pole position with a 1 minute 17.682. Domingos Yefasea then did finish 2 tenths down for XZ Racing Omega. Miko Malcavara then in 3rd with Patrick Gannon in 4th, so Patrick being the first of the Pro Silver runners. 5th position then for UC Kataya, 6th for Jensen Agensen, 7th Robert Lancaster, and 8th is Dan Carter. Dara Adrianson then in 9th, so brothers for Jensen in 6th and Dara in 9th. Stephen Brumfield then for Centurion Racing Team in 10th with Tom Brown in 11th. Roman Kubin in 12th. 13th position is Stin Van Nien in 13th as I said, sorry. And then the first of our bronze qualifiers was Carl Green for XZ Racing Sigma. So the pros, the class system working out pretty nicely. We did have the gold and the silver mixing it at the front, and then we're starting to see the bronze runners come in. Kevin Kittelman in 15th with Juan Kalea in 16th. Dave Erdin in 17th with Brett Crouch in 18th. Timothy Bray in 19th with Darren Doherty in 20th. Anthony Beck in 21st. Paul L in 22nd. Oscar Sale in 23rd and Richard Jones in 24th. 25th position is Ryan Walker for VRS Satellite Racing with Colin McKenzie in 26th. Dan Morey in 27th with David Gowrie in 28th. Adam Coles 29th and Kellen Mitchner in 30th. Ed Knight then in 31st with Lockie Brown in 32nd. Luke Davis in 33rd with Yeko Boshoff in 34th. Kosh Kelly in 35th with Angel Pedrero in 36th. 37th position is Phil Regan with Graham Bardsley in 38th. Robert Adams in 39th and John McLennan in 40th. Dan Ocaranza in 41st with Matt Hudson in 42nd. Only now are we getting to 2 seconds off pole position, so we've gone all the way down to 42nd before we get to that 2 second mark. Alex Peck then in that 43rd with David Villarano in 44th. Steve Brown in 45th with Carlos Espada in 46th. Ted Bradbury in 47th. And then there is Russell Barnes, who looks to be the last of our starters. If Ollie Morgan doesn't take to the start. But yeah, Russell Barnes starting at the back as we suggested. And Ollie Morgan not putting in a time, I don't believe, in qualifying. It's a good job we have a full pace lap here, Alex, at Road Atlanta, to give me time to get through this huge grid that we have here for round 1.
Just what I was about to say, absolutely stacked grid. Amazing job. And I think our colleague was saying in our ears possibly some cars starting on pit lane as well, so we'll keep an eye out for those. But yeah, like I say, long old lap around Road Atlanta when you're trundling around behind that pace car, that's for sure.
So just to remind you, title sponsor for the season for FindingSpeed League GT3 is Asetek SimSports. So they're providing high-end water cooling kits for the Pro and Silver Championship winners at the end of the season. Asetek bring their precision engineering expertise across from high-end PCs to sim racing. If you're interested in learning more about their forthcoming products, then you can check them out at aseteksimsports.com, aseteksimsports.com. Right, so here we are then, coming down the back straight, Alex, then the chicane, and then the safety car is going to be peeling off, and we're going to be seeing this 45-minute race in the darkness kick off. I mean, it's going to be tricky, right? It's a full grid. It's a tricky start to the lap going into turn 1, turn 3, and then the S's. The guys just need to try and be as patient as they can, let themselves get through a lap or two, and if they feel like they're out of position, then that's really the time to start trying to push forward and make those moves, and just give everyone a chance to settle into the race first.
I'm sure they'll be really keen to make those moves early on, especially in those first couple of corners, but you're right, they need to leave it. Here we go then.
Yeah, Tom Dadswell gets on the power straight away, coming off the final chicane, leads into the start-finish line, side by side already for P2 between Domingos and Miko, and Miko just tucks in the end. Everyone's pretty much single file, so I think it's actually really helped that Tom went so early on the power as UC Kataya and Jensen Adrianson going side by side through turn 1. I see a little bit of dirt up ahead, but I think that was okay, just a clip on the grass. everybody getting through these first couple of corners okay. I'm seeing on the timing tower David Gowrie just dropping down a bit. But honestly, Alex, looks pretty damn good all the way rest of through the field. I'm not seeing much other movement. Ed Knight just dropping down a couple of positions. Brett Crouch dropping down a couple. But good job from everyone so far. So I really do think that Tom Dadswell helped the field there by getting on the power early. That just strung everyone out, and we had lots of people single file through that sector. Good job all round.
I'm a huge fan of drivers that just go straight away as soon as they've got an opportunity, because like you say, I think it just stretches that starting pack out a lot, and there is far more room. I think when you bunch people up, you know, and you wait, everyone's itching to go, and there's just no room for separation. And yeah, we've had a really clean start. Oh, maybe a little bit of something. No, I think that was all just a fair move there. So, but yeah, generally just
that's what's only gone from P1 to P2, Alex. So yeah,
perhaps a little mistake there, but yeah, I think that's the important thing. Just stretch that pack out and get these good opening laps done. But yeah, let's see. Maybe we'll get a replay and see what happened to Dadswell. Yeah. Was it just a straightforward overtake, or was it a little mistake into the chicane?
Let's give it a lap or so just to let the field calm down, check if there's anything else that we want to see live, and then we'll try and see what happened to Tom. But say, fortunately, as you said, I don't think he obviously had any damage or anything. He's recovered to second place. We know he's got the pace, so he just needs to not panic or anything and close that gap back up on Jamigas Jafasea for that first position. But yeah, a bit of a surprise there, that issue for Tom. Again, otherwise through the field, I'm seeing pretty clean racing all the way around. Our timing screen is filled with orange and red gaps, which means that cars are half a second or less apart pretty much all the way through the field, as Tom Brown just getting involved a little bit with Roman Kubin there, I think, as they come off of turn 7 onto the back straight. Yeah, Kubin and Lancaster, I think it is, and yeah, going to be side by side now. Into chicane, are they going to make it 3 wide as they come in? Not quite, but Lancaster looks like he's going to be inside. Is he going to be able to get it stopped in front of Kubin?
An awful lot of room, but gets that move done, hits the chicane nice, gets the car stopped and gets out extremely well. So yeah, move complete, very nice.
Yeah, look pretty tight in there, squabbling away just behind as well, down in 15th position now for the Pro Bronze category that they're battling for here between Erding, Gray and then Kalea just behind as well. Kalea looking to make a move up the inside to turn 1, always tricky unless you've really got your car up alongside beforehand, but he has to slot in. Cameraman now looking after us, Timothy Bray, always gives us the best view on track of a battle from the car behind, but yeah, just settled down in front between 14th, 15th and 16th there as they work their way through the S's. We're seeing a little bit of movement. Richard Jones falling down order, so I think it's been a bit of an incident, seeing 3-4 cars coming down, and there we go, down at the start of the S's. We've got a car off track trying to get himself straightened up. So yeah, a couple of cars involved there, I think, unfortunately, but it looks like people are trying to be sensible and take their time getting back on track at least. And Angel Pedrero just going up the inside, or defending for that 24th position from McLennan just behind, and we'll see who gets a run coming off of the corner. Battle between the Porsche and the 2 Ferraris just behind, and if they're not careful, they're going to end up 3 wide as they come into the final chicane in a moment as well. Pedrero defending hard on that inside. Is he going to hold that line, or is he going to cut back across to the racing line? Looks like it's going to stick on the inside. Can McLennan try and come around the outside? He can't. He's always going to lose the position, in fact, but cuts back in front. And yeah, Pedrero manages to just escape away slightly as they start squabbling just behind.
I think wherever we look at the moment, there's some sort of battle on track. So there's not going to be an awful lot of time for anyone to breathe as well. Obviously, it's still just a short race, so we've got to remember that. So people will want to make moves fairly quickly.
Yeah, and one man who's been making moves already, Alex Russell Barnes. We mentioned earlier on that the league founder, Mr. FindingSpeed, started from the back of the grid. What did we say it was? 47th, 48th, I think. Already we can see him up to 26th position, so 22 spots gained already. He's managed to get through that little incident we saw in the S's, and yeah, he's going to be pushing for a top 20 spot before not too long at all. We'll see if we can find that replay in a moment for Tom Dadswell, just out of curiosity for what happened to him in lap 1. like I say, it doesn't seem like it's caused him any lasting problems. He did get the fastest lap of the race last time by, so he's up on pace. But yeah, we'll see how long it's going to take him to challenge for that top spot again. And here it is, right on cue. Here's going to be the replay. Let's see what happened to him. Okay, here we go. So actually it was Dominguez then challenging, so I wondered if it was just an error from Dadswell, but no. Dominguez got a great run coming off of turn 7 into the chicane on the brakes, and looks like a nice clean move so far. And yeah, there was kind of no event. Yeah, I was quite surprised. I thought Dadswell had made a break for it at the start. I thought he had pulled quite a gap through that opening lap, but either he made maybe a slight mistake in turn 7, or more likely, I think just yeah, Dominicus just got a great run off of turn 7, and yeah, nice clean move, no incident at all, Alex.
Yeah, don't underestimate the power of the draft there. I think at Road Lounge down that back straight.
I have to say, I'm really impressed, Alex, with the start to the race. I was kind of fearing the worst slightly in the pace lap there, talking about the size of grid that we had, the tricky opening sector, kind of fearing maybe a big incident. But yeah, great job from everyone so far. We've had, say, that one little incident on, what was it, lap 2. We've got a couple of cars that we can see kind of sat in pit lane at the back of the field, but otherwise, yeah, vast majority of cars getting through nice and cleanly. Angel Pedrero just battling ahead of Russell Barnes as they come through the chicane. Russell Barnes should get a good run coming off of the corner there, but just going to get boxed in a little bit, I think, by Pedrero. And so Luke Davis sweeps around the outside into the final corner. Russell Barnes tries to follow through, so Pedrero trying to hang on to that inside, but it looks like Russell might just have the overlap, and he does, able to sweep across in front, and that FindingSpeed machine moves himself up into 23rd position. Tom Brown's just up ahead. We saw flash red for a moment, or a faded red for a moment in P9, so he just lost a spot to Steve Broomfield, I believe, in the gold and silver battle, and we can see the 2 red marks on the timing tower there. Issue for Oscar Sale and contact as well.
Needed to hold his brakes there, I'm afraid. I think, I know every driver wants to get going back quickly, but yeah, you've got to hold, you've got to think of your competitors there. Bit of a mistake. I'm sure he'll be kicking himself for that.
Yeah,
it's worse that it gets caught on camera as well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that both drivers, like you say, it's a fundamental part of racing, as Paul L touches the grass somehow as he's on the straight. Was it already with the damaged car, I suspect? And yeah, clatters back into the track, now manages to escape. So yeah, unfortunate, we're just having a couple of issues now on lap 7, 8 minutes into the 45-minute race. But yeah, those cars in pits for repairs now. And look at how tight a battle it is here for 30th position and back. 5 cars on top of each other as they're working their way through turns 2 and turn 3. Down through the S's now. Let's go on board with Kalea as they go through this tricky chicane, not tricky curb rather. And we can see the car ahead that spun off is Carter, I believe, Dan Carter, on the outside of the track. So having an issue on the curbs, I suspect. And the car ahead we can see just having a little nose into the Autosport car, a couple of positions ahead. Who's going to get the run coming off of turn 7? Look at the little rear slide from the Porsche ahead, and they get the drive off the corner. And for Kalea here, we're just a spectator at this point. We've not got the run off the turn. We're not going to be challenging into the chicane. But let's see what the 3 cars ahead do as they work their way down into turn 10A and turn 10B. And Indy Autosport car there goes to the inside to try and defend. Works all right for him on the entry. What kind of cutback is, I think it's Nian going to get coming off of the corner. Not enough. Nice and clean from everyone going through, and everyone holds station for now.
Yeah, just didn't quite open the corner up early enough, did he? So he could get on the power a bit earlier and try and get that run. A little bit wide into turn 1. Oh, that's a compromised exit, and place gained there for Yuan. Thank you very much, he will be saying for that.
Yeah, and Colgray trying to follow through as well, I think, but wasn't quite able to do it that time by. But yeah, cool. That was like a bit squeaky bum moment in turn 1 there. The grass on the outside very quickly comes up upon you if you don't hit that apex right into turn 1 or get your entry speed a little bit wrong. But yeah, fortunately managed to gather up, and it was only a position lost. So, yeah, 10 minutes into the race, let's just have a quick look at the top 10. We know that Domingos Yafazea took over that first position in the opening lap from Tom Dadswell, still running in second, as we can see the leaders there trying to get through a back marker. Patrick Gannon then up to third with Mikko Makavara in fourth, battling with Jensen Agenson, in fact. So let's just watch them for a moment as they come off the final chicane, round the final corner. And Mikko just about, Agenson just about managed to sweep in front of Mikko Makavara there, and yeah, takes that fourth position, so 2 spots gained for him. And just behind is Jussi Kataja in sixth, with Dara Agenson in seventh, Stephen Brumfield eighth, Tom Brown ninth, and Robert Lancaster in 10th. Our first pro bronze runner is Dave Erdin in 14th, still in a very, very tight battle with fellow bronze runner Carl Gray in 15th. So yeah, good few battles still to be watching there through the different classes for sure. Patrick Gannon, just the one that's slightly punching above his weight, if you like, at the minute. The lone silver driver there, mixing it with the golds within those top 6 positions.
Yeah, we thought pretty much it would set itself out during the race, and indeed it has that. But yeah, like you say, Patrick doing a great job, and possibly a move for the lead then. Yeah,
Domingos under a little bit of pressure from Dadswell. Wasn't quite close enough that time by, but certainly improving. Tom Dadswell just shaping up. Where is he going to be able to maybe make that move in the future? If he sees a back marker coming in a future lap, does he think that's when he's going to be able to grab his opportunities to get by? We can see, Dominicus there flashing away at the back marker ahead, warning him that the leaders are coming, and they're going to maybe just trip up on him at the wrong time through the S's here. So here we are on board with second position, Dadswell, with Dominicus being the first car that has to try to get through. He's going to have to wait until the end of the S's, coming off that final left-hand corner, and then make the move on the short little straight ahead. And we see a different line from Dominicus there and Dadswell, as Dadswell tries to capitalise and get a run off the corner, but nothing really doing this time by. Dominicus going to go down the inside into turn 6. Can Dadswell follow him through? Yes, between 6 and 7 for him. And Dadswell going to have to take a tighter entry into the corner. So now we should see Dominicus disappear down the straight, as he was really able to get the better exit off the corner. And so this is going to be an ongoing battle, I think, through the race. So although we saw that Dadswell had that little bit of an advantage in ultimate pacing qualifying, Dominicus is certainly showing that he's no slouch as well. Same as Dara Agenson showing he's no slouch as he makes a move for 6th position over Kataja into the final chicane. So that's the key overtaking spot on the circuit, and did make that move up into 6th. So both Agensons within the top 10 pretty comfortably. A little bit less comfortable for Mikko Makavara at the minute, as he sweeps across. Maybe that was in front of the back marker, actually. Yeah, it's just a back marker, fortunately, into turn 1. So fairly straightforward, and actually that's going to give him a bit of breathing space to the cars behind, as they just get caught up a little bit through the opening of the S's.
Marco doing a good job in trying to stay out of the way. Not easy. You don't like to lose too much time yourself, but yeah. Kai lost a. We're just hearing they actually lost a place as well. We've letting them go, but yeah.
That's always a tricky one, isn't it? You're trying to do your best, let the leaders go, but you're in your own race. If you're there battling with another car, you can't just peel off to the side and wave everyone by too much. So it's just striking that balance. But again, it's a reasonably long race here, so the guys have got time to play the averages out, make sure it's going to be safe, and look to challenge for that position a little bit later on. But yeah, Lockie Brown certainly being the one there in 37th position that managed to capitalise that time by.
Just have sorry, I was just going to say, I was looking at Carl Gray very quickly on the timing, doing a great job for the pro bronze class as well. Got a little bit of pressure on from Kevin Kittleman at the moment as well. Yeah, sorry to distract from what was going on the screen for a second. Just haven't really talked too much about Carl Gray, so it was worth just giving him a little bit of a shout out, doing a good job.
That's perfect. And it was a good job that we did, because actually now we see that Dave Erdin is all of a sudden missing. So Carl Gray was in that fierce battle with Dave Erdin for the top bronze position, but Dave Erdin has gone into the pits, I believe. Sorry, not into the pits, but he's right at the back of the field. So I wonder if Smooly's going to be able to see an event on his system that may have caused that. And he just had a very, very slow pit stop for some reason. Dave Erdin, Smooly tells us in our ear. So yeah, we'll see if we can find out why that was. But yeah, Carl Gray now looking very comfortable for that top spot in the Pro Bronze class. But again, remember, I mentioned it very briefly before the start of the race. The points are based on overall positions. So still, Carl Gray wants to be, not just letting gold and silver drivers go. He wants to be trying to challenge for positions ahead as well, because that's still going to make a difference as to the points that he can score. And he has a little bit of a sniff ahead on Kalea. Kalea gives him too much space on the entry into the chicane, and in the end, Carl Gray just able to sweep straight by, and yeah, through and away. So yeah, looked a little bit awkward on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure there really kind of why the perhaps almost looked like he was just letting everybody go there. So I don't know if that was a back marker or something actually in the end there. But yeah, just checked up massively. Yeah.
So we're just having a little look back and seeing if we see anything here in that battle for the bronze position. We see, yeah, Carl Gray alongside, side by side as they come through the final corner. And there's contact. Dave Erdin, hard interval. Looked like netcode at first glance on my view, Alex. I don't know what you think from that initial look, but that was tough for Dave Erdin. That's why we see him been having a long pit stop, because he had to tow back to the pits. So that battle was going hard. It looked, at first glance, getting pretty clean from both drivers, and maybe just unfortunately a bit of netcode between them to bounce Dave into the outside wall there.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate. Hard GT racing there, and yeah, sometimes the dreaded netcode gets the best of the battle, and yeah, brings it to an end a bit early. Another good little barrel through the chicane on screen.
Yeah,
and, yeah, Roman having a good go.
Super close. They got the overlap there, wasn't it, as they come off the chicane. We had a great camera angle as well, showing there was barely a cigarette paper between bumper to bumper as they came through. And fortunately, the system managed to predict their positions accurately enough. And yeah, Roman Kubin there is looking confident now in front of Robert Lancaster to hold on to that position in that 10th spot. So yeah, currently we got 7 gold drivers, 3 silver drivers in the top 10, and yeah, like I say, looking very solid indeed. The race is just settling down a little bit more now as we're getting into kind of the middle phase of the race. I mentioned again earlier on that our timing screen was kind of orange and red intervals all the way through, and it's mostly settled down now. We've got a handful of little battles with like half a second or less gaps, but otherwise everybody just trying to get into their rhythm, hit those lap times, hit those markers, and make sure they can ultimately finish the race as quickly as possible. That's what it's all down to, and getting that finish position. I'm seeing a few cars dropping down the order, Alex. I think we've had an instant Jaco Boshoff, Matt Knudsen and Ollie Morgan all in the pits together. So I wonder if they've had an incident of some sort, and yeah, dropping down into the low 30 positions. Russell Barnes, we saw him up into, what did I say it was, 26th, I want to say it was a little bit earlier on, 22 positions gained. Well, he's obviously had an issue at some point. He's back down into 41st now. So yeah, trying to come back through the field for Russell as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we can catch that on his stream, exactly what happened there. But yeah, I'm sure he'll build back up. He's got people still around him. But okay, yeah, another driver that's been into the pits as well.
Just looking at the session settings, Alex, I believe fuel limit set to 50%. So
okay, so definitely one pit stop needed. Yeah.
So this explains a couple of the pit stops that we're seeing. We didn't realise we were going to have forced pit stops within the race, but we have, and that's certainly going to be mixing up. So that explains, like I say, a couple of the trips into pit lane that we've seen. It probably explains Russell Barnes' stop that we've just seen there as well. And so yeah, adds another little dynamic element into the race. We'll see who can judge the timing of their pit stop correctly in terms of, where's the traffic? Do I need to get out of traffic now to try and give myself a clear on the other side? Am I going to come out of pits and actually find myself in traffic? Can I get a clean in lap? Can I get a clean out lap? Am I going to stop cleanly in my box? And all those things are going to make a big difference as to the final positions in the race. So definitely a new element for the guys, or a different element for the guys have to do, and it's going to be critically important, of course, at the front of the race as well. So still we've got Dominicus leading Tom Dadswell just by less than half a second as a line astern, working away through the back of the circuit. It'll be again interesting to see, does Tom think that he's being held up a little bit by Dominicus? Well, if so, is he going to risk that he should pit early, see if he can find himself a clear bit of air and come back out on a clear track and try and bang those laps in? It's going to be interesting to see, again, like I say, just when these guys are going to make those judgments, and how that's then going to affect our position. Tom Dadswell tucking into the slipstream, working his way down to the chicane, but it's not going to quite be close enough this time by. Just a couple more guys going into pits as well. I'm seeing Ed Knight in pit lane at the minute, so he's just dropping down the order a little bit, down into 24th. Both the leaders continue round, so with us at 21 minutes into the 45-minute race, we've got a reasonable length of pit window, I suspect. So they've probably got any time between now and sort of 10 minutes time to be making that pit stop. We can see in pit lane there a good sort of 6-7 cars all sat there working away, as Jensen Adrianson still in that 4th position, defending hard from Mika Makavara. Mika was so close coming through turn 1 there, but in the end just not really in a position to challenge any harder. Has to tuck back in and just try and get the best run he can through the S's, so he can try and challenge a little bit later on the lap.
Yeah, the race gear driver, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Don't compromise too much, don't lose too much time through that S's. Make sure you get your lines right there, getting that big final curve absolutely right, so you're going to be tucked right under the draft through the 2 sort of 90-degree rights, ready for that back straight. It's all so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Super important. Angel Pedrero into pit lane, Anthony Beck into pit lane, Graham Bardsley, Luke Davis. We're seeing all 4 of them all coming in at similar time at the back end of the top 20. So again, that's going to be pretty critical for each of those for where they come in with each other. And the Ferrari there getting a little bit spooked by Luke Davis, I think it was, just coming in. When you're in that inside lane, Alex, should be okay for ghosting through cars, but nonetheless, took the more cautious route on that one. I think we saw in a different event earlier on today in R Factor 2, that not quite being the same case, as I saw a clip of a car just driving full blast into another car parked at pit lane, unfortunately, but yet no such issue in this event. Anthony Beck coming out in 21st, David Villarrenault trying to come through the opening sector ahead of Angel Pedrero. So yeah, we'll see where they shake out after making those pit stops. So we saw Pedrero certainly just coming in a moment ago. Teammates, I think it is, right, running just similar liveried cars, running close together there. And so still Dominicus and Tom Dadswell not made their pit stop yet. Patrick Gannon in 3rd, Jensen Adrianson in 4th. All the top guys still continuing on a little bit later into the race. I don't think I've seen really any of the top 10 look to make that stop so far. And still the 2 teammates here they are teammates, Villarrenault and Pedrero's line astern as they work their way down the chicane. Villarrenault feels the need to defend hard from Pedrero, or rather move to the side and let him go. And Angel Pedrero into that position for 23rd. So Mikko Makavara we can see coming into pit lane there. He goes into the speed limit portion of the pit lane from 4th position, I believe it was. So it's going to be important to see where he comes out in amongst any other drivers. Again, he needs a clear bit of track if he wants to try and leapfrog the guys ahead of him. Let's see if he can stop cleanly at his pit box, and then we'll keep an eye on who else is likely to be coming into pit lane. It looks pretty clean, nice and confident coming in, and he's going to be shuffling his way down the order. Still the leaders continue on, and are they going to come in this lap? I feel like they've got probably a window of like 2-3 more laps at the most, and then they need to be looking for his pit stops.
Yeah, now of course what Tom's going to have on his side is that he's going to have been in the draft this whole stint. So in theory he should have been saving fuel, he shouldn't be quite so long in the pit stops. Now I know the BMW is extremely good on tyres, so it may be that the Porsche is going to be, and here we go. So into the pits comes our leader. Good entry, misses the walls, perhaps a bit early, down to pit lane speed limit. But yeah, let's keep an eye on this then, because I would imagine that Tom is going to be fairly soon after. Just needs to make sure you hit your marks, which is not always easy to do on iRacing, as there's no sort of like a pit crew that you're trying to get in, but it does make a difference, you know. The stops get done, you know, half a second quicker if you're right in the middle of what is your supposed box, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be really interesting to see, like you said, is Tom Dadswell going to make the dive into the pits at the end of his lap, or has he got enough fuel and got enough confidence in his lap time to try and bang it in? Yeah, as you say, Alex, Dominicus out very, very quickly, but into traffic, into the side of the car, spins onto the grass on the inside. Disaster for Dominicus. Yvesea there, and he almost reversed into the track. Car has to take to the grass to avoid. Catastrophe for Dominicus and a couple other cars involved as well. Tom Dadswell, pressure is going to be well and truly off now. He just needs to have a safe, clean pit stop in and out, and he's going to have that that lead ahead as the car just sat in the middle of the track. Reminds us immediately that nothing is going to be safe and secure until they get to the checkered flag. But yeah, it's really unfortunate there for Dominicus. You know, we were seeing a super tight battle for the lead, looking like it was going to be continuing on all race long, but in the end it looks like Dadswell might be let off the hook. Let's see how his pit stop goes in a couple of minutes time. Yusi Kataya from 6th position into the pits now as well. Rowan Kubin in from 7th. So yeah, the leading pack all starting to make their stops. Just Dadswell, Gannon, the 2 Agentsons and Broomfield yet to stop at the front.
Yeah, so drivers definitely not taking any tyres, just splashing the fuel in there to get them home, and that's kind of all they need. But yeah, like you said, Lee, let's not count any chickens here for Tom. I know for a fact that I've led a race around this circuit by an absolute country mile, about 30 seconds, and with about 3 laps to go. When I was in a P1 car, I had a LMP2 suddenly spin in front of me in turn 1 and just wiped us out. So super easy to happen, and that's, you know, that stage of the race is definitely when traffic is going to be kind of at its worst. So yeah, it's got to be sensible. Hopefully you'll have a crew chief or a spotter that will be telling him what's happened, so he knows that he doesn't need to take too many risks. And yeah, just, you know, like you say, just don't miss your marks or anything like that. He's got a few seconds behind. And yeah, so Grinson in as well.
Yeah, pretty much all the leaders that now that's made their pits. And like you said, it's really interesting as to whether Dadswell has any idea, because obviously we've got such a packed field. It's unlikely he would have seen Dominicus, you know, dropping down in positions more than expected. But let's say he hit his marks pretty cleanly. He just needs to get a safe exit out of the pit lane, and he should be nice and secure. But as you said, I wonder if he's going to be shocked to not see Dominicus anywhere near him as he comes out. He's got a car coming past as well, exactly the same as Dominicus did. Is Dadswell going to be able to tuck in? He does, and he now knows that he's got nobody around him at all, and he should be looking safe for the time being. 8-second gap. The Agentsons come out of pit lane as well. They filter into a bit of traffic, so pretty much every car we've seen come out of pit lane hasn't had some clean air to then immediately work with. They filtered out into traffic straight away. It's just such a busy track all the way through. But the 2 Agentsons actually, Alex, have leapfrogged Mikko Makavara, right? So Makavara, I'm pretty sure, was ahead of them. Agentsons now have capitalised, and yeah, they're now running 3rd and 4th for the others. And
yeah, it's interesting as well, because Mikko's sort of pit time wasn't too bad, probably actually about 0.4 of a second quicker, but yeah, I'm guessing the entry and exit just not quite on the mark, and maybe because people were still out on circuit, he had some traffic that he had to deal with, so lap times weren't there, and yeah, like you say, just lost that place. So yeah, so it's now Tom Dadswell and Patrick Gannon. So you've got Pro Gold and Pro Silver 1 and 2.
Yeah, interesting. Agentsons, yeah, battling hard in amongst a bit of traffic, trying to make their way past the lapped cars ahead, and then yeah, Dara then eventually does manage to. But yeah, we saw we're following a second ago Dominicus as well. We saw that he slotted down into 7th position, but with some severe damage on that car. So I dare say he's going to be struggling now for the rest of the race. He just needs to try and hang on, I think, to a top 10 position. and score any points that he can, ready to you know, shake away round 1 and make sure he's ready for round 2 in 2 weeks' time to try and give it another run at the front of the field. So yeah, I think now let's have a quick look. I think pretty much all of the top 10 have made their pit stop, so that leaves us with Tom Dadswell in first, Patrick Gannon in second, Jensen Adriansen in third, with Dara Adriansen in fourth, Mika Malkavara, say, just losing a couple of spots through that phase, down into fifth, Yusi Kataya in sixth, with Dominicus Yevasea in seventh, Stephen Broomfield in eighth, as a lot of cars trying to get past the back marker in the back of the shot there, Roman Kubin in ninth, and Stin van Nien in 10th. So those are our top 10 runners. Cole Gray still leading that Pro Bronze class as well, looking fairly unchallenged still in that class as well, since Dave Erdin had that unfortunate incident earlier on. Yeah, Ed Knight is the next Pro Bronze driver, another 20 seconds back almost. So yeah, Cole Gray looking secure for that Pro Bronze win at the minute.
Yeah, someone slow on the inside there. I don't know if he's just letting traffic through or a potential slowdown that he's trying to serve. Looks like it's just back marker, I think.
Yeah, there we go. Luke Davis just trying to get himself out of the way, absolutely. So we've got a nice little battle brewing here all of a sudden for this final podium spot, right? So we see it in the battle box in the bottom right, or we could see it, sorry, in the battle box in the bottom right, where it's just half a second between sort of third, fourth, fifth, and sixth coming through. So yeah, that's definitely one to keep an eye on. You know, can the Adriansens, you know, defend from Kataya and Yevasea behind, as Milka Makavara all of a sudden disappears. I was just thinking there was a name missing as I was reading the list out there. He's had an incident trying to find his spot to turn back on, but those cars are just going to keep on coming.
Oh, no.
Exactly the wrong moment to go across. It's a real shame, and he's going to do the same again straight across the car in front. So I dare say there's going to be some conversations to be had in amongst the league ready for round 2 about safe rejoins. You know, it's tricky. You know, you sat there waiting, where's my gap, where's my gap? Well, unfortunately, the longer you wait for a gap doesn't mean that then you can take a smaller gap in the end. So yeah, we've seen a couple of those this race. You know, it happens, but yeah, it's super unfortunate for those innocent parties involved. So yeah, that just calms down that battle for third just a tiny bit by taking Makavara out of it. But yeah, we're still going to have the two Adriansens, Kataya and Yevasea, who I thought his car looked pretty heavily damaged, but at the minute he's still putting the lap times in. He's quicker. Last time, he's matching rather the lap times of the cars ahead of him last time by 18.8 compared to like 19.1 of the Adriansens ahead. So he's certainly still got a chance to try and challenge for that final podium spot. But look at the state of that rear wing, bent as anything. And like I say, for him to be putting in his lap times looks very, very strong for now.
Yeah, it just goes to show how hardy that BMW is. And, yeah, like I say, he's still very much in the show here. Really solid lap times. Looking at the individual sectors as well, definitely looks like he's got enough pace to try and catch up with these guys.
And Smooly Kumo reading my mind somehow. I was just thinking that we should probably check in with how Russell Barnes is getting on in a moment, and right on cue I see it light up on my timing screen. So Russell Barnes back up into 28th after his pit stop from earlier on. So I think he's lost just a couple of positions overall, right, from before his pit stop, but yeah, still comfortably within the top 30 for now. His lap times are looking pretty comparable to those ahead, and maybe struggling a little bit to Tom Brown behind, who was a second quicker last time by, and then right in queue a half a second slower next time. But yeah, looking pretty solid there at 28th. We'll keep half an eye out on Russell for these remaining 10 minutes of the race to see if he can make much more progress, maybe even try and scrape into the top 20 positions.
I wonder if Russell took tyres when he pitted, looking at his pit stop time as well, because he's like 1:20s where everybody else is sort of like 45, 43, 45 seconds. So I would suggest he took tyres. That's why he's perhaps lost next spots, but he should be quite good towards the end of this race. So yeah, maybe some additional moves can be had.
Yep, definitely one to keep an eye on. That battle for the top, for that final podium spot rather, has just eased off just a little bit. I'm seeing Dominicus just dropped off the back ever so slightly. He's a couple of seconds off of Kataya now for 5th. And then we've still got you have a couple of half-second gaps between the three here. There we go. With I love the night racing for the LEDs, if nothing else, Alex. Makes it so much easier. We can see them labelled there super clearly. 3, 4, 5. The 3 cars in shot, all battling for that final position on the podium. And yeah, working our way through the S's, 2 Ferraris and a Porsche that are going to be battling out for that spot.
Yeah, let's just have a quick look, see perhaps what the straight line speed of these cars are, see if we're going to get some moves, because I think the Porsche may be lacking just a little bit of straight line speed against the Ferrari. But yeah, let's just potentially see what they do down this this back straight this time. All important if the draft. I feel like the Porsche has struggled in recent builds just to get the kind of speed that those Ferraris have got. And I'm looking at my sort of live timing screen to get the sort of speeds, and actually, yeah, just a couple of Ks down than the car ahead. So it's going to have to be quite aggressive, I think, in the first couple of sectors to try and break the draft of the Indy Autosport teammates. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be difficult for him to make a move. So not long left to start to show his nose in different places and try and upset those guys. And yeah, got to be. He's going to have to do what he can there, I think, to separate them.
No, absolutely. Like I say, laps are well and truly ticking away. Not many more opportunities if he wants to try and challenge for that spot. But Patrick Gannon, we saw just briefly on in screen there, doing a solid job still in that second position. A little bit in no man's land at the minute. 10 seconds back of Dadswell in the lead, and he's got a 4.5 second gap to the Adriansons behind. So he just needs to, you know, keep that concentration up, not get himself tangled with any traffic. And if he can manage that, he should be looking fairly secure for that second position on the podium. I feel like the top, the third, fourth, fifth car here are just going to come across this little bit of traffic at the wrong time as they work their way through the chicane, and then the final corner. We'll see if that causes any awkwardness as they work their way through that sector. But no, looks like they're just going to be about far enough away, and hopefully they can clear him then before they get to the S's. Here we are on the nose of Dara, one of the brothers of the Adriansons. And yeah, his brother Jensen just ahead, looking to make a move up the inside. I don't think Darrow's going to struggle to follow. Maybe he is, and the back marker trying to hang around the outside of Jensen ahead, but they manage to clear him as they come through turn 2. And we'll see if Kataya manages to follow through as well. On the timing screen, it looks like he did, just 0.6 back. Yep, there we go. And yeah, there's the two Indy Autosport cars just ahead in that third, fourth position. Let's stick on the nose for a little bit smoothly as we watch them come through this track. I mean, it's a really nice little undulating circuit, isn't it, Alex? You know, one of the old school ones as Dara there. Oh, it was a back marker. I got super excited thinking he had a slowdown or something coming off of the last section, and he was having to lift off. But no, all good.
Yeah, he didn't make it through the in turn 1, and yeah, so the back marker let him go there. But yeah, no, like you said, Lee, this is proper old school circuit with the flow. You know, it's like a roller coaster riding this in real life. You know, it really make your stomach go. And you know, I think there's a prime example of that. You know, for the sim racers, like back in the day when I think, you know, probably one of the most sort of famous sim racers in his time, you know, Gregor Hutu, was invited by iRacing to this very circuit, and yeah, he felt rather ill, I believe, after you know, a few laps around here. So it really gets you going.
Yeah, like I say, proper old school track, and it's why it's one of the favourites that we still see on the service, and say in real life as well, of course, for say events like Petit Le Mans and many others within the American Endurance Series out there. 5 minutes remaining now in the race, 45-minute race. Let's just check in again with the battles for different classes. Tom Dadswell looking pretty comfortable for the Pro Gold victory, of course, the victory overall as well. Patrick Gannon looking comfortable for the Pro Silver victory in second place, as is Cole Gray in 10th position. So great job for Cole Gray as the lead Pro Bronze driver to be in that 10th position spot. He's got a 5-spot lead ahead still of Ed Knight for the next Pro Bronze driver back, but he is involved in a fair amount of traffic with Kevin Kiltman. We can see just a couple of cars back there. Got an opportunity to try and pit that top 10 as Cole Gray tries to get his way by the back marker just ahead. So I think he's going to have his work cut out still to try and keep onto that 10th position.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just back markers in front and right behind, but it looked like they've given him right old hassle. Kevin Kiltman loving it. That's what he wants. Oh, and dumped the inside 3 wide. Is he going to get it stopped? Yeah, yes, he is. Thought that was was going to be curtains for a moment there. So trying to brake on the grass, never a good idea.
No, that looked like that was not going to end very well at all. But yeah, fortunately, both Cole Gray and Kevin Kiltman get their way through. Jensen Agensen's off the track, coming out the end of the S's, isn't it? Onto that final left-hand corner that we said was so tricky earlier on. We'll see in a little while as to whether that was an enforced error or just a mistake by him. But yeah, that's blown apart that battle for the podium. Here we go. Here's the replay straight away. So going down the S, we can see we've got a back marker ahead straight away. This doesn't bode well at all for the reason for Jensen's issue. No, I mean, maybe he just got unsettled by the car ahead. You know, maybe he was a bit slower on Apex than he expected, and he just had a little adjustment of input. But no, Jensen just lost the rear all by himself, and it looked, I mean, it was kind of an awkward angle we saw it from maybe, but it looked really early into that left-hander, Alex, right? You know, it was kind of really before he even hit the inside curb, it seemed, that the rear was starting to step out on him, I think.
I think if we sort of take another look at it, I think you'll find that it was just as he hit that curb actually, and it was kind of like what I was saying at the start of the race actually about, you know, you're needing to hook those curbs, and but you've got to get them just right, otherwise it bites you really hard.
It was the previous curb. So it's the inside curb on the right-hand side, wasn't it? That's where he got unsettled.
It. And he probably took a bit more of it because he was perhaps a little bit unsighted due to the back marker than he would have done normally. The car didn't react too well to it, and that's it. Around she went.
Right, so that leaves us with 2 then that are battling for that final podium spot. Dara Agensen's we can see on camera right now with Yusi Kataya right behind him in that Porsche 911 GT3R. Kataya and Agensen's both been really consistent all race long, both been at the front from the start. Dara Agensen's has gained 6 spots from his grid spot, and is he going to be able to hold on for this podium spot in the last couple of minutes of the race remaining? But yeah, we'll keep an eye on them and see how that develops. Super close on lap times, 100th of a second between them last time by.
I feel like the Porsche's got a slightly better chance now to be able to get a move done as well, because the 2 teammates aren't sort of working together to ensure that they've got the relevant sort of slipstream that they need to defend from Kataya here, or back marker off in turn 1 as well. But so what he needs now is he needs Adrianson not to get any draft from a back marker as well, otherwise again that Ferrari's still going to have the advantage of the straight line speed. So let's see how that pans out.
And whilst we've been away looking at that podium battle, Carl Gray has just lost those couple of spots. We saw him in 10th position before, but now Kevin Kittelman is in 10th, and in fact Dan Carter in 11th, so that brought Carl Gray back down into 12th, still with a bit of buffer over the next place pro bronze driver of Ed Knight though, so still should be secure for now. And here's Ed Knight right on cue on screen. We can see he's got a few cars ahead of him. His teammate, in fact, Anthony Beck, the next BMW driver, immediately in front. So again, a couple of little battles like this still going through. We see a few little orange patches on our timing screen, but otherwise I think it's mostly going to be a matter of cars just making sure they're not getting tangled up in just the closing moments of the race, and they just need to bring home the positions that they are in right now. One of those is going to be Graham Bardsley and Richard Jones battling for 26th and 27th position, as Kevin Kittelman trying to work his way past just a lap ahead there as well. So that's going to again make things interesting, where you've got the battle between 26th, 27th, 28th. Oh, the 28th goes for the dive on Kevin Kittelman there, and the car ahead beautifully spins out of the way at the same time. So unfortunate for Richard Jones there, right as Bardley made the dive on Kittelman, the next car in front moved out of the way anyway. Looked like a safe track rejoin there from Richard, so good job that time by. But yeah, that just
a few spots, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's just really what you were saying, Lee, there, that, you know, we needed couple of laps to go, and I actually saw the flagman there waving the white flag. So this is another spinner. Who is that? That looked like
Lockie Brown.
no, Lucky Brown. So yeah, I just thought for a moment it could have been our P3 sitter.
Yeah.
Here comes
Oh, there we go.
Dadwell though across the line to take the victory here in round one of the of what is this championship here. And thank you very much, Samuli. Yeah, FindingSpeed, you're lost for words. And yeah.
And
great,
Adrian's
result
hold on
for
in the end.
Adrian, Patrick Gannon as well. Sorry, Lee, to just walk over there just as we missed him coming across the line too.
Yeah, sorry, like I say, yeah, so Adrian's did manage to defend from Katia in the end there, so good job from both of them. Cole Gray, as we said, the lead pro bronze driver, looking like he's going to be secure in that position as well, coming through the final chicane. So yeah, so great job from Tom Dadswell. You know, pole position, had a little bit of an error in the opening lap, managed to keep Dominicus honest all the way through, not giving him any space, and in the end, it was that unfortunate issue for Dominicus coming out of pit lane, making contact with, well, I was going to say back marker, but they would have been on the same lap at the time, and that really opened the door then for Dadswell for a fairly comfortable remainder of the race. Patrick Gannon, say, in that second position, like I said, the lead pro silver driver. Really sorry that we didn't see a huge amount of him on screen, but he just did the job, was always in the hunt at the front, picked off those couple of positions as others had issues, and yes, they secured that pro silver win, as did Cole Gray, as we said a moment ago, for the bronze class, yeah, finishing in that 12th position. So it was unfortunate that Cole Gray and Dave Erdin had that contact around the pit stop phase, because before, up until then, that was looking like our biggest battle for a class victory. So I think, yeah, round one, Alex, of the FindingSpeed GT3 League, that was a corker. I mean, it was a 45-minute race. It went super fast, action all the way through, and for the vast majority, you know, good racing all the way through. We didn't have any huge incidents. We got through those opening laps very cleanly for such a big field. Yeah, I think good job all round, really, for the drivers.
Yeah, awesome first race of the season. Like you say, it's always important to get those first couple of laps underneath your belt, and yeah, like you say, it was clean, and I think that's what the drivers appreciate.
Right, so here are our provisional race results, then, you know, pending any post-race protests that may be happening and any penalty points that may be applied. But yeah, the race results as we see them now: Tom Dadswell taking that confident win, say pole position and race win for him. 11.5 seconds in the end lead over Patrick Gannon then in second. Dara Adriansons in third with UC Kataya in fourth. Dominicus Jovasay in fifth with Jensen Adriansons in sixth. Stephen Brumfield in seventh with Stin Van Neen in eighth. Ryan Walker in ninth with Dan Carter rounding out the top 10. Indy Lunatics, Kevin Kuzelman then in 11th with Cole Gray in 12th. Rumen Kubin in 13th with Anthony Beck in 14th. Ed Knight, the second position pro bronze driver, in 15th. Mirko Malcavara in 16th. We obviously saw him in the hunt for an overall podium spot early in the race before he had his unfortunate incident. Adam Coles then in 17th with Alex Peck in 18th. Angel Pedrero then in 19th with Robert Lancaster in 20th. Jacob Boshoff in 21st with Luke Davis in 22nd. Colin McKenzie 23rd with Dave Erdin in 24th. Again, he was battling for that pro bronze class win earlier on. Tom Brown then in 25th with Graham Bardsley in 26th. Robert Odoms in 27th with Matt Knudsen in 28th. Russell Barnes ended up 29th in the end, so I think that was the spot we last saw him in, maybe one less. So yeah, wasn't really able to make much more progress was Russell, but yeah, from 47th, 48th on the grid, yeah, 20 spots gained, very solid indeed. Lockie Brown then in 30th with Kosh Kelly in 31st. Timothy Bray in 32nd with Ollie Morgan in 33rd. Richard Jones in 34th with Phil Regan 35th. Paul L 36th. David Villarano in 37th. Kellen Michner in 38th with Juan Calea in 39th. And Steve Brown in 40th. And the rest of the drivers were non-finishers: Carlos Espada, John McLennan, Breck Crouch, Dan Ocaranza, Oscar Sale, Darren Doherty, Ted Bradbury, Dan Morey, and David Gowrie, finishing in 49th position. So So yeah, looking at the kind of the laps there, like say 40 cars, I'd say finished kind of still competing in the race pretty solidly. So good job from them. Let's have a moment now just to talk to our sponsors whilst we wait for drivers to join us in the interview waiting area. So if you're a driver listening to the broadcast, we've got a few minutes remaining that we can bring someone in. So join the Apex Racing TV Discord, jump into interview waiting area 2. But like I say, that gives me a chance anyway to again thank Asetek SimSports, the title sponsor for Season 3 of the FindingSpeed GT3 League. Asetek are bringing their precision engineering expertise across from high-end PCs to sim racing. You can find out about more of their products at aseteksimsports.com. As part of their sponsorship, they are providing high-end cooling kits for the Pro Class, for the Pro Gold and Pro Silver winners in the championship. So we thank them for their contributions to the league, as we do Apex Racing Academy. So Apex Racing Academy also providing a couple of prizes in a championship for the bronze category, 1 year gold and 1 year silver memberships for the winners over there. The Apex Racing Academy provides 29 data packs for iRacing, where you can get setups, track guides, integration with virtual racing school, weekly group coaching sessions, direct access to coaches in Discord for Q&A. If you want to find out more about them, you can visit them at apexracingac.com. So, doesn't look like we've got any drivers joining us for the minute, so we'll chinwag just for a moment or two before we look to close the broadcast up. But like I said, Alex, Road Atlanta, it's a technical, tricky circuit, perfect for GT3s in terms of, you know, the overall size, length of the track. A full grid, you know, it was frantic the whole time. Nobody really had a moment to breathe. And the guys say did a very, very good job, especially for maybe, you know, new drivers who haven't competed in this league before with the previous ones. That, you know, round one, of course, can often be when you have more of those issues as people kind of bed themselves into the league a little bit.
Yeah, I think with any new series, you know, it takes a couple of races for people to sort of get used to who it is they're going to be driving against, who's roughly on their pace, and they're going to be fighting week in, week out, and, you know, what kind of you know, aggression or defensive or driving or things like that they kind of do, and then you kind of have much better and cleaner races, you know, throughout the season. But yeah, as a starting round goes for any championship, that was a pretty good one, you know. So there really wasn't much sort of car on car action, so to speak. There more just drivers making sort of, you know, unforced errors, and then, yeah, okay, there was the odd occasional little rejoin that a few people will be a bit angry about, but I'm sure the league admins will remind drivers that, you know, you've got to hold the brakes once you're around, and make sure it's absolutely clear before you do that. But apart from those little things, I thought it was a really, really good opening round. Looks like competition's going to be fierce in all the categories. I wonder if there is going to be some people asking for some re-rankings done between the pro golds and the pro silvers and things like that, because there's a couple of pro silver guys that look like they should be in that pro gold section right now as well.
No, absolutely. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of tweaking through the season, but honestly, it looked pretty good overall. It was good as well to see that variety of manufacturers. You know, we had kind of every manufacturer within the top 10, even that poor old McLaren represented by Stephen Broomfield. So, yeah, good to see that there isn't an overly dominant car out there today. Hungaroring for round 2, Alex. I feel like, I mean, as you said, same as you, I haven't driven it yet on iRacing, but I feel like it's going to be fairly similar to Road Atlanta in terms of it's an old school track. There's not tons of runoff. You've got grass everywhere. You've got undulations as it follows the natural landscape. You've got a couple of tricky curves in different places. I think we're going to see a similarly exciting race out there as well.
I think so. Right. Perhaps less overtakes on that one though.
Yes.
That main straight a little bit shorter. So the GT3 is definitely going to be going to have to sort of do some proper outbraking rather than getting fully alongside by the sort of like the chicane we had here. So yeah, I think it'll make it just a little bit more exciting actually.
No, definitely looking forward to it. That's going to be in 2 weeks time, so on the 9th of October, same start time, 19:30 GMT. That's 20:30 UK if you are here. And yeah, if you've enjoyed the coverage, and make sure you catch round 2. Make sure you give the video here a like and a subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well, so that you will see when we are next on. And we've got plenty of other races coming to Apex Racing TV over the next few days as well. So just starting in half an hour, or in fact, in just half an hour, sorry, is the Formula 3.5 Championship. That's the official iRacing version here on Apex Racing TV. Tomorrow night, we've got SRF Weekend Warriors and awesome little spec racer Ford. You can see full grids there as well. And at the same time, we have the IGP Fun F3 VRS series. And then for maybe more of our US viewers, 1 in the morning on Sunday night, we have the XSLR series. They're running in the Next Gen Cup at Talladega. Monday evening, 1900 GMT, we got Formula V. Then IndyCar official series open on Monday night at 12 midnight GMT, along with our long-time companions here on Apex Racing TV, Rickmatech, with their Lamborghini Trophy Series. And that continues on all week long. Races every single night here on Apex Racing TV. Variety of different cars, single-seaters, GT3, Porsche Cup, yeah, Radicals as well, the works. So yeah, make sure you give it a like and a subscribe if you're interested in seeing more. And we thank you for joining us here tonight for round 1 of season 3 of the Finding Speed League GT3. Thank you to Alex Simpson for joining me on commentary. This is Alex's only visit that we're expecting to the series here, so great to have you for round 1. And thanks as well to Samuli Kumo doing the excellent job on production, as we always see. So yeah, 2 weeks time, 9th of October at the Hungaroring for the next round of this series. We shall catch you then at 19:30 GMT. Thank you.